All right, number 9. We just want to solve for n on this problem. And so we're going to use our 16 plus the square root. This is n squared minus m squared equals t. We need to get the n by itself. We got to get it out of the square root, so we're going to have to square it. But before we do that, we're going to isolate the square root by moving the 16. So we're going to subtract 16 from both sides. Doing that will leave us with the square root of n squared minus m squared, and that will be equal to t minus 16 when that moves from one side of the equal sign to the other, changes signs. Now we're going to square both sides. And just for the time being, I'm not going to FOIL it out. I'm just going to write it as t minus 16 squared. And the square will cancel out the square root, and that will leave us with n squared minus m squared. And that's going to equal to t minus 16 squared. Then we need to isolate n, so we're going to add the m over. So we'll have n squared equals, this will be t minus 16 squared, and then it'll be plus m squared. And then to solve for n, we're going to need to take the square root of both sides. Now when you cancel out a square root, that cancels, but over here, you got to remember plus or minus. Okay? So this will give us n equals positive or negative square root of t minus 16 squared plus m squared. That's good. And then 10 says assume A and B are lengths of the legs of a right triangle, and C is the length of the hypotenuse. We're going to use Pythagorean theorem to find A, B, or C when, so it says find B when A equals y and C equals 3. So we're going to do Pythagorean theorem. So that is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So they're just referring us, this is a method used to solve a right triangle. And we're going to solve for B, and we're told that A equals y, so we're going to put a different variable in, and C equals 3. So I'm going to say this is going to be y squared plus b squared equals 3 squared. I'm going to subtract y squared and move it over, trying to isolate the b. So you get b squared equals, now 3 squared is 9, so I'm going to say 9 minus y squared. And then we're going to take the square root of b, do that to both sides. So we'll get b equals, and then you take the square root of this side, positive or negative, depending on what we get, 9 minus y squared. Now usually, whatever this answer is, we'll only deal with the positive since it's a measurement. So we're going to be ignoring the negative part of this answer for the time being. I was just kind of cutting that off. Square root of 9 minus y squared.